What's cracking, everybody? It's your boy IK, the Infinite King. And today, we're back with another Destiny 2 article. Today, looking at what we can expect on June 9th with the new update that we'll be receiving with Monument of Triumph. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, grab a snack, grab a cold one, grab a loved one, and let's get in with this Dev Insight article. All right, Dev Insights, Return of the Director. Welcome to our first Dev Insight article prepping for the release of Monument of Triumph on June 9th. We have quite a bit to get through over the next few weeks. Today's article focuses on the return of the Director and Destiny 2 activities. Here's a quick list of what we'll be covering. The Director, layout, additions, and updated destination loot. Distortions, adding some spice to select patrol modes. The Portal, breaking down barriers and overhauling the experience. Gambit Ops, bringing our old friend into the fold. At the end of everything, Gambit comes back. Heavy Metal, Vehicular Mayhem. Sparrow Racing League, finally, SRL returning tracks, new loot, and some twists along the track. All right. Tomorrow we're planning to have our second Dev Insight article focused on the weapons and sandbox alongside a Friday Twid, so stay tuned. I need hunters to be nerfed into the ground where they belong. Cut their legs off, Bungie. Do it! The return of the Director. With the release of Monument of Triumph, we're putting the Director back at the center of your gameplay. It's your guide to the Destiny universe and place to plan your adventures. It creates that feeling of wonder we all love. You know, it'd be cool if you could actually go into the sun. You'll see the Sol system before you, ready to be explored. To bring the Director up to date, we've added Kepler and the Lawless Frontier to the space as well. I really wish that we could have gotten the Menagerie or Callus's ship. You know what I'm saying? And what are we missing? Titan, I think. Titan and Mars would have been cool, but we got to take what we can get. And I do really like that they added Kepler and the Lawless Frontier into the Director. I was fiending for that before. Destination and patrol updates. Destinations has always been a foundational part of Destiny. Whether you touch down briefly for a public event, roam areas for patrols and secrets, or find various factions moving against each other. Our first steps as Guardians were in the Cosmodrome, and beyond that, we spent over a decade patrolling the wilds of our Sol system to protect the last city. With the return of the Director, we felt now was a better time than ever to thrust players back into these frontiers. We've revitalized each pre-Edge of Fate destination's loot with new perks, tiered weapons for non-craftable pools, and set bonuses that reflect their themes and stories. For our destinations featuring crafted weapons, as outlined in the Monument of Triumph article, they will be receiving additional perks per column to make them feel up to modern sandbox power standards. We're also introducing a new event, one with some added difficulty that appears during distortions that only occur on certain destinations. So let's see, this article, yes, so we did a video on this article. You can go ahead and check that one out. Just basically outlining all the stuff, what to get ready for, and Bungie essentially saying that, this next update is going to be the end. You'll primarily be able to earn this loot through public events. Base completion will grant Tier 3 rewards and Heroic Tier 4, with each drop having a chance to upgrade all the way to Tier 5. Still don't know how to do that yet. During a distortion, these rewards will be upgraded by one tier to match the added challenge. Unique destination activities like Blind Well, Altars of Sorrow, or Terminal Overload will also distribute tiered rewards. Full details in the patch notes. Additionally, we've updated what we call the World Loot Pool, earned through legendary engrams that drop from general gameplay, to now feature a collection of tiered loot with gear spanning multiple years of Destiny 2. You may find old favorites inspired by Splicer Tech or our old friend Satan 14 with this engram. Okay, so I'm assuming some older seasonal weapons that we might have gotten, like during State 14 season of the Seraph, I think that was. We might be getting some tiered stuff with that. I can't remember if we do have. I think some of those weapons are already tiered, but not all of them. So that'll be interesting. All right. With that said, let's look at loot from a few destinations. Below is a taste of what's to come. We want to excite but not spoil your appetite. P.S. Don't write while hungry. All right, Cosmodrome, where it all began. Many Guardians can recall their first moments waking in old Russia, and they weren't alone. Rasputin, the Warmind, called the Cosmodrome his old home. and proved himself to be a mighty ally of humanity. The returning weapons that drop from the Cosmodrome come from Rasputin's storied arsenal along with a new origin trait. Eyes Up. This weapon gains reload speed, range, and increased damage against combatants for a short time when combat begins. Final blows extend and enhance this bonus. Seraphic Arsenal, 7 Seraph CQC. All right, yeah, so I think they weren't tiered, but they might have been craftable. I think that's what I'm remembering. I think it was the Ikelos submachine gun I'm thinking about. But now they are tiered. So got all the different perks. You got the additional perk column. You got the intrinsic traits and heal clip. Okay. So a couple of different perks here, but we are getting those weapons back. I think it was Season of the Seraph. Our sample weapon from the Cosmodrome is a reprise of 7th Seraph CQC-12, updated with new perks and keeping its Rasputin's Arsenal origin trait. All right, so these are the different perks that it can roll with: slide shot, snapshot, discord, closing time, quick draw, trench barrel, threat detector, 1-2 punch. I think trench barrel and 1-2 punch are okay, they're in the same column here. Disruption break, chain reaction, heal clip, incandescent. Dual loader surrounded. Okay. 7th Seraph CQC-12 felt like the right showcase for Cosmodrome because it's both a core Rasputin weapon and a flexible close range workhorse. With its updated perk pool, we wanted to support everything from classic melee heavy builds to pure add clear shotgunning without losing that Warmind toolbox identity. All right. Nessus, with good robots, failsafe and friends, bad robots, the Vex, and a lot of early Guardian memories, Nessus deserved a loot pool that reflects its status as a classic destination. So, the Sandbox team reached through the time to pull together a collection of weapons reflecting Guardian's many expeditions on the unstable Centaur. We hope that you agree that our selection plays as well as they look. New Origin trait. Veiled Deadly. Dealing damage grants a stacking bonus to magazine size, target acquisition, and range until your next final blow with this weapon. Oh, shit. So we getting a little bit of a boost to our mag. All right. This is gonna be interesting in PvP. This might be a pain in the ass in PvP. Echoing Reprisal. Plurperfect. All right, let's see what we got here. I'm really bad with like recognizing perks based off the icon. It's been a while also. I think that's Demolitionist. Is that kinetic tremors? That might be kinetic tremors? Oh my goodness. Okay. High impact frame, unstoppable, slow firing, high. Okay. And then nice. I mean, yeah. I really want to see how this works in PvP. I'm very curious on that. Our sample from Nessus is Plurperfect, reprised with a new perk pool built to play into its deliberate, hard-hitting identity while opening up a new kinetic focus options. Rounds per minute, 400. Okay. All right, so we got Outlaw, Rangefinder, Rampage, All-Star, Dynamic Sway Reduction. It does have kinetic tremors. Rewind rounds. Adhesive Ordnance. Ooh. Oh my. Ooh, is adhesive with... in the same column as kinetic tremors? Interesting. Stopping power, closing time, enlightened action, aggregate charge, demolitionist, adrenaline junkie. So adhesive ordnance, if I remember correctly, that will when you shoot over time, it'll adhere like an explosive to the target and then explode. You couple that with kinetic tremors. After a certain amount of shots, they have an explosion that happens in like a 3 burst pulse at that enemy's location. So those two together, I like that. I'm hoping they're in different columns so you could combine the two of them, but yeah, that kinetic with rewind is also pretty badass. So all right, we see Plurperfect as the backbone weapon of the Nessus set, reliable, deliberate, and built to carry momentum from one target to the next. Its refreshed perk pool gives players room to chase a range of playstyles while still preserving the feel that made the weapon memorable. All right, I'm digging it. I definitely want to get this one in my hands so I can try that out. Europa. Europa was a defining destination in Destiny's history, marking a turning point where allies and enemies alike began to wield stasis and deepen their understanding of the darkness. Its frozen frontier is inseparable from Braytech, whose ambition and technology remain etched into every corner of the moon. For this refresh, the team wanted the returning weapons to feel at home on Europa, reflecting both its harsh environment and its legacy as a defining frontier. New Origin Train. Winterized gear. After being out of combat for a moderate duration, this weapon gains stability, reload speed, and handling. These benefits decay over time after re-entering combat. All right, so a little bit more patience. Every time I see these origin traits, I can't help but like default into thinking how that'll work into PvP. With the lull this past season, I've just been playing a lot more PvP and just kind of trying to think about like how these things work with that. Rewards rebooted. High albedo. All right. Micro missile frame. Stoppable. Okay. All right, let's see. Our sample from Europa is high albedo, and no, your eyes do not deceive you. High albedo has been updated to be the first kinetic micro missile sidearm. I was going to say, I don't remember this being a micro missile frame. All right, so we got auto loading, kinetic tremors, ooh, bewildering burst, ancillary ordnance, impulse amplifier, one for all, enlightened action, all stars, shoot to loot, frenzy, stopping power, desperate measures, blast distributor, and surrounded. All right, so we got some nice little things going on here. Auto loading for me, I think is going to be auto loading, always with micro missiles, sidearms. I always want auto loading and kinetic. I feel like these two are going to be my go-to perks to try to get for this. All right. High albedo matches Europa's identity in pairing precision tech with a harsher, more experimental edge. We wanted it to update perks to support players who use it proactively, whether that means building into utility, crowd pressure, or general purpose combat. All right, distortions. All right, cool. So distorted destinations, patrolling the system. Over the past few years, Destiny 2 has focused more attention on structured campaigns, exciting playlists, and challenging cooperative activities. This has led to patrol mode feeling a bit behind, without strong rewards or a clear reason to return. Many players have had little incentive to explore the wilds of Sol. To remind Guardians of the allure of wandering these worlds, we're introducing a new feature on 7 destinations, distortions. Distortions. Every hour, a different destination becomes the focus of distortions. The sky tears open, reality distorts, and corruption spreads. While distorted, the planet's enemies are empowered and more fearsome. So this reminds me of two things. This reminds me of the Eclipse of Hell from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Sometimes there would be like this eclipse that would happen, and then like all the enemies would get powered up. I can't remember for the life of me. There was a season where we were dealing with the Vex, and it was not like, I think it was on the moon and maybe like one other location at the time, but the Vex would like tear open the sky, a bunch of Vex would drop, and there would be like kind of like a patrol event that you would do. Can't remember what that activity was called off the top of my head, but that's what this reminds me of. So very similar to that. Distortions are our new enhancement to patrol mode. They're a celebration of all the things that are already there, plus a small injection of new things to do and new rewards to discover. Our main goal with this feature was to support what we call the public loop, connected areas that players patrol where they can encounter other Guardians and work together on shared goals. We've leaned into all the fun little things that are already there and then added a little twist. All right, so we got in this looks like the Cosmodrome as well. We got on Savathun's throne world as well. All right, so basically just a buff, just thick, meaty enemies that we got to deal with now. And you'll see it in the director as well. Okay, so whenever you see this little, it looks like whenever you see this icon here around a particular planet, that means that that's what the distortions are. All right, nice little visual language there. Every enemy will become distorted too, making them tougher, more aggressive, and a little more dangerous. Distortions won't massively change the low-stress nature of patrol, but you may occasionally find an encounter that tests the skills of even veteran Guardians. You'll also discover some familiar challenges in new places and some strange signals leading to hidden rewards, okay? Probably beacons or something like that. Speaking of rewards, we're making distortions uniquely rewarding by providing a new weapon set players can earn in these new events, and to balance the increased challenge of distorted enemies, you'll see higher gear tiers awarded from playing public events. I mean, the goal is always going to be tier 5, right? That's not to say that tier 4 weapons aren't viable. They are. But the goal is always going to be tier 5 weapons. So I can't remember. I don't believe they've spoken yet about how to upgrade. I think they just said that we'll be using different types of currency to increase the tiers. Excited to check out distortions. Look for the telltale red glow and keep an eye on the timer telling you when a new planet will be targeted. Overhauling the portal. Boo. Since the release of Edge of Fate, we've heard your feedback on the portal loud and clear. Yeah, it's ass. Portal, the tab is gone. Thank you. However, we didn't want to remove quick access to Destiny playlists and content. That's fine. Just don't make it the mainstay. While players can navigate the director for numerous activities, we still wanted a portal of sorts to quickly find the content you want to play when you want it. We've refactored scoring difficulty and customization quite a bit to further address feedback around the system. More on that in a later section. Portal activities, bonus engrams, bonus focuses, and the seasonal hub are still accessible. The portal ops categories are built into the director itself. In the director screenshot above, you'll see a row of familiar icons at the bottom of the screen. They are the doorway to portal-like subscreens, allowing you to still access and configure the activities you'd like to play. You may have noticed in our director preview that there are a few returning icons in that row at the bottom. Yes, Gambit will now have a portal category updated with scoring, and raids and dungeons will have an easy access point on the front of the director. Dungeon Ops will be retired, and this space will simply be a space to quickly find and play full raid and dungeon content. All right. So my assumption is that it'll probably take you to the same tab that you currently get when you there's like legendary like raids and stuff like that. So they'll have different older activities as far as raids and dungeons, or you can just go get to them straight from the director. But I am happy that this is the main screen. So just for anybody that's a little bit more unfamiliar with Destiny, when you first log in, you know what I'm saying, you select your character, you get your choice of, you know, one of the 3 characters, if you've made 3 characters or just one. And when you log in, you see your ship, and then you can go into this menu here called the director. And this is what you would see before. And, you know, you can select a planet. From there, you get a map of the planet. You can select a place to transmat into, to land, a landing zone, and then, you know, you go from there. And then you had, you know, Crucible, Vanguard Ops, which is strikes, basically like short campaign missions, and you can get into Crucible and Gambit, and then raids as well, and dungeons. What they did was, with the portal, they added this kind of menu system, which was extremely it just didn't have the same soul as the director, and the thing, it just felt very impersonal. It was just like menus the game. So instead of going into the director, like, you were met with this immediately, and you know, you just went through all the different menus to try to get to whatever it is you wanted to do. There is something to be said for, I guess, the organization of it. Like, yes, there are certain things that I can see like the portal actually contributing to make things easier, and also to like make certain activities a little bit more difficult for the scoring system, and trying to increase the probability of certain drops. But it was just so impersonal and just so just dry. It was very like, okay, here's menus, the game, and then you have to go through that to get and to begin an activity. Everybody hated it. Everybody hated it. It was ass, and I'm glad that they're kind of like tucking this away, putting that away so we can focus more on the director, which is what we had for the better part of, if we include Destiny 1, probably like 14 years. Oh no, I'm bugging out, 12 years. So yeah. We also wanted to bring back more of Destiny's Legacy, and the following will be available in Monument of Triumph: New Fireteam Ops, Heist Battleground Mars, The Disgraced, The Lightblade, The Scarlet Keep, The Corrupted, Lake of Shadows. Are we getting the one with the stupid payload? Is it that? Can we bring back the easy version, the one that we could just, like, you know, plow through? New Pinnacle Ops, Operation Seraph Shield, 0 hour, okay. New Arena Ops Override on a 4-week map rotation. Difficulty and reward updates. Portal Ops activities are getting a difficulty overhaul in Moment of Triumph. The overarching theme is less math, more playing Destiny. Hell yeah. Right now, difficulty, rewards, and progression are too intertwined, plus a bunch of variables are tossed on top: power, armor, and the rewards pass score bonuses that require far too much planning and thought before players could just dive in and play. Yes, that's part of what made the portal so annoying. During development, we've simplified it, play tested a bunch, and simplified it even more to address player feedback. Thank you. So when we say that we've made the system simpler, what do we mean? Now when you select a difficulty, you'll always hit a default reward reward rank, which will result in a default reward tier without adding any modifiers. The table below helps illustrate what reward tier to expect from each difficulty and reward rank. So, difficulty, normal, C tier. Tier reward, tier 1. Advanced, B, tier 2. Expert, A, tier 3. Master. So, Grandmaster, S, and Ultimate, S+. That's where we're looking for the tier 5s, baby. All right. Tier 4 is cute, you know what I'm saying? Tier 3 is adorable. Tier 1 and tier 2 is basically garbage. Like, no. We want the tier 5s. I want all the perks. I want all the columns. I want all the bonuses. So looking like I'm going to be doing a lot of Grandmaster and Ultimate stuff. Note, for Crucible modes, grade A and higher will yield tier 5 loot drops. All right, good. Just try in Crucible, and more often than not, you can pull a grade A. But what is the role of modifiers now? In the simplified world, mods exist to allow higher scores to be reached without stepping up the difficulty level, to offset the cost of any selected boons, and to provide an additional completely optional challenge. If you want to earn tier 4 gear but don't want to face champions, play at expert and add some mods. Don't want to deal with the tougher, more aggressive combatants at Grandmaster but still want to earn an S grade rank? Play at master with a few mods of your choice and you'll get those tier 5 rewards. Every difficulty can have enough mods applied to bump you up one reward rank and reward tier. So additionally, while reward tier will now cap at Grandmaster with tier 5 and S rank, it didn't feel right to remove ultimate difficulty from the game. So we're leaving ultimate in for Guardian to enjoy playing at the highest challenge level possible. The S plus rank will exist purely for bragging rights. So S plus as a reward rank, not necessary at all, but is available for people like Esoteric, the quintessential Guardian. So I like this. You know, you can go into master. What they're trying to say by this is to get, like, you know, an S tier. You don't have to go into Grandmaster activities. You can still do stuff like, you can play at master, which typically rewards A plus and tier 4 gear. But you can just add a lot of these modifiers, and that'll bump the rewards up to tier 5. So thank you. That makes things a heck of a lot more enjoyable, especially when dealing with these modifiers, and it makes it more worthwhile. Don't necessarily have to focus on Grandmaster all the time, but the availability and the option to be able to just do stuff at master and then add different mods to the encounter or to the activity. Yes, thank you. That's what should have been from jump. So I appreciate this. So how will matchmaking work then? We're also updating how matchmaking and customization work around portal activities. We want the system to stay approachable while also providing variety. In match-made versions of portal activities, activities will include fewer modifiers than what players have previously encountered, will grant rewards and rank for the selected difficulty. Okay. Revive tokens counts are also getting updated across Fireteam, Pinnacle, and Arena Ops. We've heard your feedback about how revive tokens feel in Arena Ops, and as a result, we're removing them on all difficulties. This should make joining activities in progress and navigating the chaos of 6-player content a smoother experience. For Fireteam Ops and Pinnacle Ops, Grandmaster difficulty will now start with 7 revive tokens, while Ultimate will start with 5. Our goal here was to create a little bit more breathing room in the revive token economy while still preserving the level of challenge players expect from these difficulty tiers. So basically what revive tokens mean is if you have a fire team of 3, you go into an activity and people keep dying. Once you use up all of your revive tokens, if there's only one person that's left alive, that person has to try to complete the activity by themselves. So sometimes if you're doing something that's extremely difficult, that would be a pain in the neck because you would end up burning through revive tokens, or if you went through like 1 or 2 at the beginning of an activity before you even got to the midpoint or the end where the boss might be, it made it really difficult. You had to be like top level awareness and playing just to try to get through certain activities. So removing the revive tokens does help. I wonder if the non-revive zones or the darkness zones that you might encounter on certain activities might become more prevalent, or if they stay the same. And with those, basically you have to have somebody else revive you. If you die, you cannot revive yourself. So I'm curious to see how that's going to work out, but I do like the fact that they are kind of adjusting the revive token stuff. Adding variety to loot. As we're making updates on how loot is earned throughout the portal, we also took this opportunity to expand loot variety. The following Portal Ops activities will feature exclusive weapon reward pools and an armor collection with a unique set bonus. Crucible Ops General, Crucible Ops Competitive additional exclusive pool. Okay. Trials of Osiris, Iron Banner, Gambit, Sparrow Racing League. So all of these are getting their own. I'm assuming it's a new armor set for each. I don't know. I hope it is. But in addition to that new armor, then we're getting set bonuses as well. So I'm really curious to see what the Trials and Iron Banner gear is going to look like. Solo Ops and Fireteam Ops will each have a unique weapons rewards pool and share a new armor collection with a set bonus. Arena Ops and Pinnacle Ops will also each have a unique weapon pool and share a new armor collection with an additional pool for Onslaught. Ooh, more details on that below. Additionally, Arena Ops will have holofoil variants. We hope you enjoy discovering them as a little surprise. All right, cool. So holofoil variants are basically shiny guns. Sometimes they have a unique shader or paint job on them, but sometimes they also have they usually drop at tier 5, so they'll have a better chance to give you the perks that you might want. So that'll be usually anyway. I'm excited to see what those will be for the Arena Ops. Onslaught, Contest of Elders, and the Coil. We're also making big changes to Onslaught and Crawl. So Onslaught is basically the Horde mode for Destiny 2. If anybody has played Gears of War back in the day, Horde mode was basically you, a couple buddies, select a map, and you basically just have waves of enemies thrown at you until you complete wave 50, I believe it was, or wave 100, depending on the game. They had this also as a firefight in Halo ODST. That was Bungie's version of Horde mode at that time. So in Destiny 2, that Horde mode is Onslaught. Okay. After reading feedback and looking at the data, we weren't happy with the amount of play these activities were getting. We're taking some big swings to make all these activities more enjoyable and rewarding for your time. Onslaught, which is the Horde mode, we've increased the scrap you earn from resources by over 40%, allowing you to max defenses at each location. We've removed revive tokens from this mode entirely. We've reintroduced the difficulty curve. Now the first 10 waves will be easier than the difficulty you selected, with the next 10 waves increasing in difficulty and the final 10 waves increasing in difficulty to match the difficulty selected. Okay, so that's nice. I feel like it accounts for the removal of the revive tokens, and building difficulty over time is what kind of makes Onslaught fun. Also, it has to be on par with you upgrading your defenses. So this makes sense. I'm curious to see how this is going to roll out. I'm excited to play that. For example, Grandmaster's Onslaught's first 10 waves will feel somewhat like expert difficulty, the second 10 waves will feel closer to master difficulty, and the final 10 waves will feel on par with Grandmaster difficulty that you've come to expect. We've reintroduced the full Brave Arsenal from Into the Light, with tiers into the Onslaught reward pool that drop at the end of every 10 waves in addition to the Pinnacle Ops reward pool drops. Contest of the Elders, we've reduced the number of paths in a single run from 4 to 3. We've reintroduced the difficulty curve. Now the first path will be easier than the difficulty you selected, with the next path increasing in difficulty and the final path further increasing in difficulty to match the difficulty selected. Contest of Elders basically has you going through different areas, fighting, different types of enemies, and for every path that you go through, they're saying here it increases in difficulty. I believe Contest of Elders is referred to as a crawl, a longer activity overall as far as the time that you're spending with it, and you're doing a little bit more traversal than you would do in Onslaught. Onslaught takes the Crucible maps or the PvP maps, and then it reestablishes them in a way where the map itself might be small, but you're continuously fighting waves of enemies, whereas Contest of Elders has you doing a little bit more traversal than you would do in Onslaught. That's why they call them crawls. Okay, so we've added Whirlpool rewards in the Contest of Elders reward pool that drop at the end of every pathway, in addition to Pinnacle Ops reward pool drops. All right. I like that. So you're getting a little bit of both as far as like different types of weapons. The Coil, we've reintroduced the difficulty curve. Now the first path will be easier than the difficulty you selected, with the next path increasing in difficulty and the final path increasing in difficulty to match the difficulty selected. Okay, so the same thing as Contest of Elders. For example, Grandmaster Coil's first pass will feel somewhat like advanced difficulty, the second will feel closer to expert, and the third will feel closer to master, and the final will feel on par with Grandmaster difficulty. We've added Whirlpool rewards to the Coil. Reward drop at the end of every pathway, in addition to the pinnacle drops, reward pool drops. All right, so you're getting a lot of loot, basically, is what they're trying to say. You're getting world drops that you might get at different planets that you might go to if you're doing just regular patrols, in addition to the pinnacle ops reward pool drops. So a lot of loot. Nothing on the vault though, which I'm concerned about. However, if you do have stuff in your vault at this point that is either non-tiered, I guess craftable is fine because you can continue to craft weapons. They haven't spoken on that yet, but anything that's not tiered at this point, just delete it, because they're revamping everything in a way so that you can have tiered weapons. So it doesn't make sense to hold on to those much older weapons. Check out Dado for some vault cleaning videos if you want to get more ideas on how to go through that and how to clean your vault out. Elevating Gambit. For some time now, players have felt our core activity rotation has been lacking in a very special PvEVP activity that was introduced in Forsaken. We agree. In the Monument of Triumph, Gambit gets a clearer home in the Director through Gambit Ops. Our focus is on better placement, stronger reward support, and a more legible reward structure while keeping the core activity familiar for players who already know how Gambit works. Integration into the portal means Gambit Ops will have its own tiered reward pool with a new armor set bonus, and reprised weapons, as well as bonus drops and bonus focus. Tiered rewards are driven by activity scoring, and for Gambit, score is driven by team progress through Gambit's major phases: banking moats, summoning the Primeval, and defeating the Primeval, with additional bonus score coming from Gambit rank. Rewards are rooted in team effort rather than individual stat chasing, and a team that reaches the Primeval phase will earn S grade and tier 5 gear, so getting to the final phase of the match is materially rewarded. Okay, so as long as you can summon that Primeval, then you're getting tier 5 gear. Let's be honest, few things in Destiny feel better than banking a pile of moats or saving the game with a last-minute invasion. To keep the playlist healthy, Gambit needs strength in its rewards, and that meant looking at the playlist's identity from multiple angles. A reworked origin trait to match Gambit's unique rhythm, the return of many iconic Gambit weapons, and refreshed perk pools that give players real reasons to dive back in. Our resident Gambit lovers on the Sandbox team took a deep pass on the weapons that you've been asking for and made sure to give them some fun rolls. Here are 2 quick examples. Reworked origin trait, Gun and Run. Defeating targets builds stacks of Gun and Run for a short duration. Sprinting for a short time consumes a stack to partially reload this weapon's magazine from reserves. On bows, this briefly improves draw speed. Okay, so as long as you build up the stacks of Run and Gun, you reload your magazine as you're running with it, and you increase the draw speed on bows, so it'll make it quicker to fire and shoot. Return to the Dark Age. Spare rations. Oh boy. What do we got? Slide shot. Kill clip, I think that is. Okay. Let's see. Our sample from Gambit is spare rations, now updated to be a stasis lightweight hand cannon. I was going to say, I don't remember it being stasis. Slide shot, kill clip, rapid hit, opening shot. Ooh, snapshot. Snapshot, opening shot. Interesting. Either storm. Well, kill clip? Oh my goodness. Moving target, swashbuckler, firefly. Interesting. Desperate measures, keep away, one for all, crystalline corpse bloom, and explosive payload. This is going to be a pain in the neck to deal with in PvP. It's a 140 hand cannon. 140 hand cannons are typically just very good in general, but something explosive payload to make people flinch when they're trying to take shots, in addition to stuff like basically you could just be booming people all the time. You got Firefly, which will as long as you get I believe that one is just if you get a kill with the weapon they explode. It might be a precision kill. Crystalline Corpse Bloom, I believe, also creates a stasis crystal at the point of death of the opponent. Explosive payload, you do these two, you basically explosive payload, every shot that you land on the person, they have a little explosion that happens on them. That's really good for making people flinch when they're trying to take shots. That with Crystalline, you blow them up and then you get a little stasis crystal there. I believe that's what Crystalline Corpse Bloom does. So it's yeah, this is gonna be a nightmare in PvP. We wanted spare rations to remain a sharp, responsive dueling weapon while broadening what players could chase it on. Its new pool offers a healthy spread of PvP and PvE options, from classic hand cannon consistency pieces to payoff perks that give it real flexibility outside of straight duels. 21% delirium. Oh snap. This was a really, really good machine gun back when it was viable. When people were still playing Gambit. We're also bringing back 21% delirium now with a full random roll perk pool while keeping its original static roll as a possible outcome. Interesting. So So we got Overflow, Killing Tally, Reconstruction, One for All, Redacted, interesting, Trickle Charge, Rolling Storm, 4 times the Charm, Redacted, Feeding Frenzy, Eddy Current, Jolting Feedback. So good for ad clear, especially in conjunction with like things like Jolting Feedback, Killing Tally, Rolling Storm as well, and Trickle Charge. This will be really, really good for ad clear on different activities from what I can see so far. I wonder what the redacted ones are. We'll find out. Crucible play. Oh, yeah. Let's see. The goal here was to turn 21% Delirium into a deeper chase weapon without losing the version players remember. Its refresh pool opens up new ways to build around sustained fire, reload loops, and damage ramp while still leaving room for the classic role that defined it the first time around. Okay. Crucible playlist rotations. In Monument of Triumph, Crucible playlist offerings are moving to a more predictable cadence, and all PvP offerings are receiving loot refreshes to offer new weapons, armor sets, and cosmetics. First, let's start with our main PvP events, Iron Banner and Trials of Osiris. Taking a swig. Stay hydrated, y'all. Iron Banner now returns every 4 weeks. So every month, Control remains a constant offering and is replaced by Iron Banner Control during Iron Banner weeks, with one additional Iron Banner mode available each time Iron Banner is live. Iron Banner, Iron Banner, Iron Banner. So basically, Control is a Crucible playlist where you spawn in 6v6. There's 3 zones, A, B, and C. You try to hold 2 of the 3 zones. If you can get all 3 zones, fantastic. The more zones you have, the higher score you get per kill. So if you have 2 zones, you get 2 points per kill. You have 3 zones, you get 3 points per kill. Iron Banner basically makes it so that if you are able to control all 3 points, it locks those points out for a certain amount of time, so you can kind of avalanche your score, and then it returns all of them back to 0, so you have to go back and recapture those zones after that. So that's the difference between regular Control and Iron Banner Control. Trials of Osiris will continue to run every weekend from Friday through Thursday. Oh, through Tuesday, excuse me. Trials will not be available during Iron Banner weeks to help keep Guardians focused. All right, so basically Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday is your time for Trials of Osiris. That is the more focused competitive PvP, and it has a completely different set of armor and loot pool as far as weapons. Trials is also undergoing changes to featured map and weapon rotations. Instead of a single curated feature map each weekend, the mode can now vary from week to week. Some weeks may feature a singular map, while others can feature up to 3. Check back each Friday to see which arenas you'll be challenged on. Featured weapons are also moving away from a single weekly focus and now drop from a featured weapon pool instead. We will have more details on the map and weapon pools in an upcoming tweet. As for our broader PvP offering, featured 6v6 modes will continue to rotate weekly, while featured small team modes rotate daily until Trials takes over for the weekend. Rumble also remains permanently available. Rumble, I believe, is a 6-player activity, but every person for themselves. This update also expands the small team lineup, with heavy metal added into the 3v3 rotation alongside new 4v4 arena collision, a new modifier mode built around more deliberate weapons first combat. Private match access has also been moved under the Crucible Ops portal, where players can also find heavy metal and more new Crucible modifiers like arena. So this is cool. Heavy metal is just going to be added. We'll have more information on Crucible rewards, Crucible modifiers, and more next week when we talk more about sandbox tuning. Until then, let's turn our focus to some vehicular mayhem. So apologies if I didn't describe certain modes correctly. It's been a hell of a long time since I've done Iron Banner, as well as I don't really play Rumble as much. I play more Control than anything else. I'm not good enough to be as competitive for stuff like Rumble. So at least I don't believe I am. So that's, for me. But yeah, Control is basically my mode that I go into with the homies. Heavier and more metallic. Heavy metal is back on a permanent rotation in the Crucible Ops with some fun updates. If you've played heavy metal before, you know the fantasy. Climb into a massive vehicle, roll onto the battlefield, and turn the other team into scrap. This time, there's a new option joining the lineup with the Cabal Behemoth alongside the Drake and the Brig. We've also added a new vehicle selection screen so players can choose which vehicle they want to bring into a match before it begins. That means heavy metal is no longer just one fixed matchup and gives players more freedom in how they want to play. So basically, you can have a Brig, a Drake, and a Cabal Behemoth all on one team fighting each other. This mode is 3v3. You basically select a vehicle and beat the crap out of the other team. So cool. So we got the Walker. This is obviously inspired by Star Wars. I believe it's the ATST, chicken walkers. So that'll be fun. To keep matches feeling faster and punchier, we've lowered the score needed to win from 50 to 40. It's a small change, but one aimed at making the mode feel snappier without losing the vehicle combat chaos that makes heavy metal what it is. Heavy metal is also getting a brand new map, Nightfall Station. If that name sounds familiar, it should. The space is adapted from the wreckage of this vessel from the Renegades campaign, now reworked into a heavy metal battlefield built for vehicular combat. All right, I'm down. I wish we got more Crucible maps. Really wish we got more Crucible maps, but it is what it is. Overall, these updates are focused on giving players more variety from match to match, tightening up the pacing, and making sure each vehicle feels like a viable choice when they drop into the mode. We're excited for players to jump back in, try out the new lineup, and see which vehicle fits them best next time heavy metal rolls around. Oh, okay, so it is rolling around. It's not going to be permanent. I thought it would be permanent. All right. So, the return of Sparrow Racing League, SRL, let's go. The long-awaited and frequently requested Sparrow Racing League, SRL, is returning to Destiny 2. This isn't just SRL coming back as you remember it, though. We've brought the mode forward with a set of updates aimed at making races feel faster, livelier, and a bit more chaotic from lap to lap. Ghost returns as your SRL announcer along with Shax. There's nothing more motivating than Shax screaming at you to push for first place after your opponent just took you on the inside of a turn on Mercury. Skimmers are joining in on the fun, yes, allowing you to choose between a Sparrow or a Skimmer before hopping into a 3-lap race against 5 other players. Players won't have access to rail grinds or manual jumping as a Skimmer, or be able to use destabilizers for rolls or flips as a Sparrow. In fact, we've done a ton of work under the hood to make sure that using either vehicle in SRL feels equally advantageous to players. So, what they're talking about here is basically you have 2 traversal vehicles that are available to you when you're playing PvE. You have your Sparrow, which is the equivalent of what I would say a speeder bike in Star Wars, and a Skimmer, which is like the Silver Surfer surfboard. And you can do different things with each vehicle. The Skimmer ended up becoming the more popular of the 2 because of the traversal options that you have available with it, one of them being grinding. You can just jump up into the air and grind and clear obstacles and different like pitfalls and traps that might have been available in different areas. So they're taking things like that out of SRL so that this way you don't have a particular advantage over anybody else. Skimmers are basically the go-to vehicle now for everybody that plays PvE. So I understand this. So speaking of under the hood, we've also updated SRL to support those photo finish moments at the end of a race. Close finishes can now properly assess ties, which means when 2 racers hit the line at nearly the same time, the results screen can better reflect that outcome. We know the mantra, if you're not first, you're last, but our goal with SRL is to bring the chaos and friendly competition to the forefront, and so tying means you both get equally great rewards. That's cool. Yeah, everybody wins. A couple of new mechanics have been added to SRL. Rocket Boost rewards racers who nail their timing of hitting the gas just before the race begins, kind of like Mario Kart, giving them an early burst out of the gate. Trick boosts are what they sound like. Land a trick successfully and you'll get a boost. On PCs, Sparrow and Skimmer tricks can also be remapped the same way emotes can, and we've updated the UI to support that. Nice. All 4 of the original SRL maps are returning, and we've got a brand new map called Quantum Circuit located in the Realm of the Nine. Avoid the Taken and enemies of pass while racing on this wild and intense ribbon road. Oh. Did they take the thing from the prophecy dungeon and put it in and tune it up and put it in here? Oh shit, I'm hyped. Additionally, speed boost paths have been added to specific shortcut paths on all maps to offset any gates missed. A change that we think will make taking riskier or tougher shortcuts more rewarding and viable. Finally, we've done some tuning on gate sizes, vehicle speeds, and rubber banding to keep the pack together while still rewarding strong racing lines, smart shortcuts, and well-timed boosts. We're expecting for players to get their hands on all the updates and hear the brand new SRL music tracks when Sparrow Racing League goes live next month. Yeah, we're still in May. All right, cool, man. I'm excited to race with the homies and to check out the new SRL map. SRL rewards. Alongside SRL's return as an activity, you'll also be able to earn weapons and armor rewards. If you've got to go fast, then these will feel right at home in your arsenal. The perks found in these weapons have speed and momentum in mind, such as Eager Edge, Desperado, or Perpetual Motion. While we want to keep the weapons and their perk pools under wraps, we will share an early look at the origin trait and armor set bonuses. Featherweight Origin. Final blows with this weapon will have the Featherweight Origin trait grant increased movement speed while equipped. Revving up, 2-piece. Fast movement builds up a charge that gradually increases your health regeneration speed. Once you are fully revved, sprinting grants speed booster. Ooh, Dielectric Drift. Sliding while speed booster is active jolts combatants in front of you. I like that. Okay. So there were certain modifiers, I believe, when you would do, I believe it was Vanguard ops activities, so strikes and things like that, that would give you these types of movement modifiers, such as speed booster, revving up. You would have things where when you would slide, you would get the arc jolt in front of you. That's sick. So they're just putting it into armor now. I like that a lot, and it makes sense for the SRL set. And for players looking for a little more style with their speed, SRL will bring plenty of earnable rewards worth chasing. This includes brand new SRL Racing Sparrows and a Skimmer, as well as SRL Armor Ornaments, returning Racing Sparrows, and SRL Shaders from Destiny 1, plus returning Sparrow Horns from Destiny 1 that will also work with Skimmers and can be previewed in the menus, new and returning SRL emblems, and more. I wish the horns were playable in just regular patrol zones, but it seems as though they'll only be available in SRL, which is fine. You can annoy the crap out of people with your horn. I like the weapons. Weapons look smooth, very Suros-y, my opinion. I really like that sword. Whether you're racing for the win, completing SRL triumphs, or just showing up for the chaos, there will be plenty of ways to earn gear and accessories that let you look the part. Join us tomorrow as we turn our focus to the weapon sandbox, raid, and dungeon updates, Tower Vendor attunement, and more in our second Dev Insights article and TWID. Hell yes. So, to kind of recap, we got weapons coming back with new origin traits. We got everything going into tiers. We got distortions. We got the return of the director, return of the Mac. We got fire team ops in the portal. We had that before, but the portal has been revamped. So we got a lot of new good updates. We got returning weapons. So a lot of good stuff coming from this Dev Insights article. It's bittersweet for sure. It is very bittersweet because of the state that Destiny is in right now, and what's gonna end up happening. So great article. I'm excited to try out all the new stuff. I'm excited to try out SRL. I'm excited to see what distortions are like, see what the rewards are going to be for that. So all good stuff right now. Long video, long article. I'm expecting another video tomorrow and another article to be just as long. So if you guys made it to this point in the video, I appreciate you. I thank you very much. And log in on June 9th, please. If you haven't tried Destiny 2 out, I believe it's currently free to play. They are going to be having some sales on it. So if you haven't tried it out, check it out and get in with us. Everybody just log in on June 9th. Show that there are numbers behind this. It's not just people bitching and complaining and trying to get a game to be made for no reason. We do want Destiny 2 to continue. We do want a potential Destiny 3. So everybody, this is our time to show Sony that we love this franchise, we love this IP. So the best thing that we can do right now is not cannibalize each other, especially both of the Destiny 2 and the Marathon communities. Let's just, everybody that is for Destiny 2, let's not try to shoot down Marathon. Let's just focus on Destiny 2 and log in on June 9th. Let's make that the priority so we can show Sony, yo, we want this. So anyways, that's it for me, y'all. I appreciate you for sticking around if you did. And as always, everybody, tell somebody that you care about that you love them. Because tomorrow ain't guaranteed, but today can be hype. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.